Good morning, good evening, whatever the hell time it is. Welcome to Noise when I sit there and try to introduce the show. Why does it matter? All right, we're doing a show. We do a show. If there's a show, we do it. It happens. It never fails. I try to give a decent announcement, and there we go. Well, it starts the show. This is why we should start the show all the time. Like, we should just start the show and screw it. Like, you could start with, like, the fact that Ivan's still eating snowballs from the Carter administration. We could have started there. No, Mike wants a serious intro for once. Nope. Can't do that. We can't do that at all. No, gotta sound like garbage. I get it. I understand. All right, fine. You're listening to the Squares of the Roundtable podcast. I don't know what episode it is. It's probably episode 2,576.321. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know anymore. I know there's a lot of them. I know there's a bunch. People should listen.
144.
Oh, is it 144?
We're 12 dozen episodes in.
Yeah.
12 dozen episodes. I'd rather be 12 dozen episodes. I'd rather have 12 dozen donuts, I think.
Donuts.
12 dozen donuts.
Yeah. You know, today is the anniversary of when the Simpsons aired on television.
No kidding, really? The 19th?
19th of April.
Yeah, we are recording on April 19th.
1987.
So much for that illusion.
Which came from the brilliant mind of Matt Groening, who in Chicago had a reputation for a comic strip by the name of Life in Hell.
Yep.
And I used to read that.
Life is hell.
You know, and well, no, it's called Life in Hell. Anyway, but
I haven't smoked enough. At that point, it was Life in Hell. So there you go.
Anyway, so the point
or Life
being,
is Hell. I don't know, whichever one.
Well, yeah, but the point that I would have never thought that a man who worked for
you're right. I'm sorry, Ivan. You're right.
You know, and for a man who worked with newspapers such as with names like The Booster, the local neighborhood papers, which of course a lot of his material would come out as one shot comics, basically one block, and then sent from there, which led to an expansion of strips. But I don't think Matt Groening had any idea that when he got in touch with Tracy Ullman, that he was going to be the literal key holder that opened up the door to a series that's still going strong and is right now the longest running television series in history.
History?
Yes.
Haven't the soap operas run longer, like General Hospital or whatever?
No, but I'm talking about in the animated sensibility.
Obviously, the longest running animated series, yes.
Oh, right.
I think it's the longest running sitcom.
Well, yeah. Well, and of course it's the longest running sitcom because of the fact of its build, of its character,
because we know it's not the longest running TV show ever because 60 Minutes is still on.
Well, okay, if we're going to split hairs, okay.
We're not splitting hairs. It's considered a TV show. It's not considered a news show.
Again, but we're splitting hairs, right? I mean, we're talking, an animated show, a longest running animated show, next to, right up there with Scooby-Doo, which is the longest running, still running franchise in the world. And,
why? There hasn't been a new Scooby-Doo in a while, has there?
Well, there have been numerous remakes of
okay.
Right. So, but it's still in the viewers, and that's the thing. And when you got Max Groening, and then when I saw this on my favorite show, Decades, I love Decades. Bill Curtis, love it.
I don't know Max Groening. I know Matt.
Matt Groening.
Got him too.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. With that being said, I would have never thought that, the comic strip that I found very peculiar back when I read it, many years ago, and then to see his name in the credits. And from the designs, the original designs, which are far and away from the streamlined designs that the Simpsons are today. And the fact that it's one of the few cartoons that actually kind of called front and center a few things that actually came to pass, which is kind of amazing, of its own design.
There was that, the Simpsons did it, not just like
South
the
Park.
TV tropes, the Simpsons did it.
Yeah, South Park
episode, where there's like just numerous TV tropes.
That was, in fairness, that episode was actually not aimed at The Simpsons. It was aimed at Family Guy. It was aimed at Seth MacFarlane, who kept ripping off stuff from The Simpsons, and the South Park guys decided it was time to point it out, and that's why they did it.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to admit, that it's cleverly done in the way that, when The Simpsons called that kind of attention to itself, and the fact that so many other things that have sprung from The Simpsons design since then, which is really amazing. It's kind of like what happened. It was kind of like what happened with Ren and Stimpy. We had this conversation and how much animation became a free-form item in the wake of Ren and Stimpy, and now you got the designs of
people like
Ren, Morty,
Rick and
Morty, and
Rick
with
and
that, Rick and Morty, and with that, it comes right down.
Is that the guy with the Szechuan sauce that everybody went?
Yeah, that was the viral thing about the Szechuan sauce, and all the crazy kids were storming the McDonald's.
I want Szechuan sauce. I want Szechuan sauce.
I remember that was a crazy story for a while. It was crazy people doing stupid stuff for the Szechuan.
Yeah, like walking at McDonald's, screaming at the top of their lungs on video, like I want Szechuan sauce.
And then they're selling it on eBay, and the people were
Well, if we have a capacity for ridiculousness, I think we've taken every advantage of that many courses over.
Mm-hmm.
So, nobody can ever accuse Americans of not having a sense of humor or the lack thereof.
Can I admit that the one thing can I admit one of the few things that actually makes me still laugh when I think about Ren and Stimpy? It's ironically not from the show. Have you ever seen the first? Have either of you ever seen the first ever Ren and Stimpy comic?
Yes, I have.
I had it for a while. No, wait, I couldn't find number 1. I had number 2 for a while.
Okay, so number 1 came out during that whole phase in the '90s where big time comics were back.
Yeah, and the death of Superman spurred this huge resurgence in buying comics as collector's items and not readers' medium.
It started before that. It really started with Tom McFarlane was basically given a brand new Spider-Man title called Spider-Man. It wasn't spectacular or amazing. It was Spider-Man. And his Spider-Man number 1 came in this bag. And that's where that all started, was okay.
Oh, that's where the bagged, the sealed baggie. That's where it came from. I didn't know that.
That's where all that started. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, so Simpsons number 1 is bagged. And it's hysterical because when you open the bag, on the cover is Ren looking horrified because Stimpy opened the bag. And what Ren says is, you opened it. Now it's totally worthless.
You idiot. Yeah.
You idiot, it's totally worthless. Yeah. And that's the cover for Ren and Stimpy number 1.
Yeah, right.
Which is genius. So they totally were making fun of the whole bag trend, and yet ironically put it in a bag. I did have another question for you guys. When was the last time you legitimately can remember sitting down to watch a new Simpsons episode on a Sunday night?
It must have been a few years ago. I think there's one. Jeff's going to make fun of me because this is about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was an episode where Apu was going to become the lead singer of this aging rock band, or sort of like how that one guy became the lead singer for Journey because they found him on YouTube. And so he sounds just like Steve Perry.
Steve Perry, yeah.
So that was the episode I wanted to watch because I heard that Matthew Sweet was going to have a voice on as one of the band members.
Okay.
So that was about at least 3 years ago. Was the last time I sat and made a point to sit and watch an episode of The Simpsons as it aired live. Ivan's,
Ivan, any clue? Besides dying?
That or he's celebrating 420 early.
Yeah, 420 early. But anyway, as far as and you know what, Mike? Jeff's gonna laugh at me even worse because I have not sat down to watch a Simpsons episode in over 15 years.
No, that's why I was asking you. I'm not laughing at you.
We're laughing with you.
It's more. I'm asking this question because it's like I'm trying to remember the last time I sat down on a Sunday night and said, "Hey, I want to watch The Simpsons." Like on.
It's either that or it was a Treehouse of Horror, because those are the funniest ones in the season.
I mean, I feel like the last time I probably watched The Simpsons.
I think, yeah, for me it was like 15 years ago was the last actual, The Simpsons are on tonight, I want to sit down and watch it. Now it's like passé to me, and it's like if I never see another Simpsons episode again, it'll be too soon.
Well, it's weird because it's like, I'm trying to remember the last thing I saw that would be. I want to say it was like after the movie. It's either after the movie or they did the Simpsons. They finally did the Simpsons go to Chicago at some point. And I feel like that might have been it. But I might be wrong because that one episode. There was an episode that got rerun a million times locally in the Chicago area about the one where somehow Homer ends up at a farm and he uses like the nuclear stuff to accidentally uses nuclear stuff on the farming and actually turns a tomato, cross-pollinates a tomato with tobacco and makes a
tobacco. Yeah, I remember the tobacco episode.
And I feel like that's been more recent. I feel like that's been in the last 10 years, I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I'm like, with the whole Simpsons thing. I mean, I was there when that whole thing started with Tracy Ullman when she was on for 3 seasons.
Well, right.
And I wouldn't have ran into the Simpsons had I not run into Tracy Ullman because back at that time, she had a big hit record here called "They Don't Know" on MCA. Back around that same time when I think she was in the second season of the show, and that's when
she had a record with the Beastie Boys.
No. She had a record on MCA.
Right, MCA.
Right. Which they was called "They Don't Know." That actually was a chart. It was actually a chart.
Wasn't MCA one of the Beastie Boys?
No.
Yes.
I'm talking about MCA.
Yeah, isn't he one of the Beastie Boys?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know. All I know is I'm talking about the record label.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think the album was called "Hey 17," and "They Don't Know" was a big top 20 hit off that album for Tracy Ullman. Then she followed up with "Sunglasses," which kind of fell through the cracks, and then that was the last you heard of Tracy Ullman on record, as far as I know. And it was during that second season when the Simpsons were actually starting to come out of their 30-second shell, and then they started, advancing to 2-minute clips towards the end of the show.
Yeah, they gained popularity on her show, and that's how they got their own show. Yeah, on Tracy Ullman.
Yeah, and then after the third season, that's when the whole thing started.
If she gets a cut.
Well, she does because it was her invention, Tracy Ullman. And the fact
I thought it was Matt Groening's invention.
Oh, that was Matt Groening's invention.
No. Matt Groening was brought in to animate it because Tracy loved his style of animation or his style of, his pictography. And, so that's how that all came together. Basically, The Simpsons was nothing more than an animated extension of the 5 characters that she had on her show. And that's how that began. And then The Simpsons became more popular than Tracy Ullman's show. And that's why after 3 seasons, Tracy Ullman was out and The Simpsons were in 1989 when it debuted. So it's pretty amazing how an animated form ended up outdoing a physical one, which doesn't happen too often. It usually happens the other way around. You have famous voices in cartoons. Tom Bosley with "Wait Till Your Father Gets Home," which was a cutting edge of its day. Evening animated presentation, which one episode was actually featured on Love American Style, on ABC. And then NBC picked up the contract from Hanna-Barbera and created Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, which was a great series. Ran 2 seasons, still a great series. And then, of course, the voice Jonathan Winters was on a bunch of those episodes, too, which also called for the short run of the back in the early 2000s, because I guess things weren't cleared up with Jonathan Winters, and that's when that DVD set ended up getting taken off the market. Which is typical of copywritten material being reissued in this day and age of the new laws stating copyright, which is now everything has been.
Well, who owns the rights to the whatever? It's legality. Exactly. It's all the bullcrap.
Well, yeah, it's the fat old lawyers just sitting on top of the money saying, well, it's still ours and you still need to pay us. Which is a shame, because it just holds up a whole lot of really great content in so many, many different directions and in so many different ways.
So I looked up.
Yeah.
I looked this up.
And?
Tracy Ullman does not still get paid for The Simpsons. As a matter of fact, in 1992, she filed a lawsuit about this. As a matter of fact, the quote is claiming that the show was the source of The Simpsons' success, therefore she should receive a share of the show's profit. Here's the best. Here's the quote from Tracy Ullman. I breastfed those little devils.
Yeah.
She believed that she wanted a share of The Simpsons' merchandising and gross profits, and again, this is 92, and was entitled to $2.5 million of the estimated $50 million in 1992. The network paid her $58,000 in royalties for The Simpsons, as well as $3 million for 3.5 seasons her show was on the air. Eventually, the courts ruled in favor of the network. So Tracy Ullman gets
she got jacked.
Nothing.
Yeah. You get nothing.
Nothing.
Like G. Wilder. You get nothing.
Here's another example. Here's another example of watch what you say, because you put it out there, anybody can latch onto it. Yeah.
So stop spreading lies, Ivan.
I'm always spreading lies.
So, how was your weekend? How was your week?
One other thing on The Simpsons, as long as we're there, because I'm curious from Mike's perspective. Now that The Simpsons are available to you 24/7 whenever you want on Disney Plus.
No.
Have you ever? Yeah. No.
No, I've not watched a single episode of The Simpsons on, and not even checked the steamed hams, which is the most crazy viral thing that's ever come out of The Simpsons.
No.
Just it's weird because it's it's interesting because for a long time they weren't on cable either. You could only get
them on Fox. Yeah,
you could only get them on local TV, and then FX got the rights, and then when Disney bought FX, I mean they're everywhere. I mean they're on Freeform, they're on Disney. They're on FXX. They're on. I mean, it's funny because now it's Oh, okay, Simpsons episodes. Every so often, I'm like, oh yeah, the Simpsons are on. I forget totally. I don't even know when they're on locally anymore.
No,
For syndication.
And the thing about it too is, since the Simpsons and so many other animated cartoons that are now out there for adults in the wake of the Simpsons, which of course what they did is not new. But they did, I mean, evening animation goes back to the late 1950s. Yeah, to the late 1950s, with the likes of, Rocky and Bullwinkle and, Calvin and the Colonel and,
but aren't you missing one?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't the Flintstones before all those
That was
guys?
that was the early 60s, I think, the Simpsons. Or the Flintstones.
Actually, yeah, okay, because what happened was, the Flintstones were the Flagstones in 1959 in their pilot episode. And then they were taken in and reconfigured, and in the fall of 1960 is when the Flintstones came in.
They were first aired in, originally aired in 1960.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, and
I thought they were the first real. I thought they were the first real.
It was the first animated sitcom, I think.
It was the first animated sitcom. It's the first animated sitcom, which is, of course, everybody knows through its thin veneer that it's nothing more than the Honeymooners.
Yeah, I mean, they even lifted a couple of stories from the Honeymooners.
Oh yeah,
Because this is before reruns, so they didn't think people would catch the fact that this is from the Honeymooners.
Yeah, and of course, not only was Hanna-Barbera guilty of that, MGM was. Not MGM. Warner Brothers was also guilty of that with a couple of theatrical cartoons called The Honey Mousers, which was a direct ripoff of the Honeymooners. If you search those down on YouTube, those will flip you.
I don't even. The Honey Mousers. Could you be any more blatant?
But really. The Honey Mousers, and then
with Joyce Randolph and Audrey
Meadows. Well. Yeah, also, as far as television cartoons in of themselves, I mean, that goes back to Jay Ward and a made-for-television cartoon called Crusader Rabbit, which started, I believe, in 52 or 53. And then when the television started gaining momentum and, was searching for content, and then you have, Rocky and Bullwinkle, also from Jay Ward. And then, then you had the Flintstones. Then a year later, you had the Jetsons. A few years later, you had Top Cat.
That's where Hanna-Barbera was in its heyday. Yeah.
And they catered to the evening crowd as much as they catered to the kids. In fact, those were never children's cartoons anyway. Those were animated sitcoms made specifically for adults and advertised for adults. The Winston cigarette commercials and the number of stingers that they used to put in for those cartoons, the advertisers, from cigarettes to laundry soap to what have you,
Yeah, forget the Simpsons being prophets. The Jetsons are the real prophets. I mean, some of the stuff that, in the past year we've done.
Yeah. Most of the stuff that the Jetsons ever had presented on, and this is 1962, and everything for most of it, a lot of it came true.
We don't have flying cars yet.
We don't have. We have hovercraft. We
don't have flying cars. I'm not flying a car to work.
Hold a second. Do you really think that's a good idea?
Yes.
If I had a hovercraft, if I was sitting in mean, snarling, fucked up traffic, you mean to tell me you wouldn't push the button on the dash, have the wheels tote in, have the jetpacks go up and over all the fucking traffic?
Because nobody else will have that either, right?
But I'm saying, if you were one of the lucky people, okay, let me go back a few bars. If you're one of the lucky people to own a hovercraft, You mean to tell me that you wouldn't push that button down on that?
It's a different question as to whether you would use it or whether or not it was a good idea. I think that's what the point Jeff's trying to make.
The point is, what's everybody? I mean, look, we live in Chicago. We've seen traffic. You see what the Dan Ryan looks like. Now imagine a whole bunch of people in a hydrogen powered thing that flies.
Well, it'd be no less different than when cars first came on the scene where nobody knew what a license was, let alone try to maneuver a horseless carriage. It's just the same thing, just history repeating itself.
Oh, no, whoa. There's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, but when you have a car crash in the air...
Yeah, and then you're coming down as well as out. Yeah.
wait. Yeah. When the hydrogen catches fire... That's called you're dead. Goodbye. Thanks for playing. Especially when you blow up in midair.
Yeah, but what makes you think they're going to use hydrogen?
What else are they going to use to power that thing?
Well, I mean, I know that there's other lighter than air components other than hydrogen. I mean, when you look at the dirigibles and the Zeppelins of the 20s and 30s and everything.
Yeah, how'd that go?
That's what I'm saying. That's hydrogen, but I know that they use another. They use another type of lighter.
Well, I mean, the point being is
they're not balloons. They fly on propulsion.
Right. Well, the point being is you're probably going to have to use nuclear power. I mean, what else are you going to use?
Well, okay, so if you have yourself in a hydro.
I mean, I guess you could use electric, right? I mean, could you imagine? If you haven't charged it? If you haven't charged it long enough and you drop out of the sky and basically land on
was it kind of like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon where it just kind of stops in the middle and just falls down like a dead body?
Yeah. Will your head stay all the way up in the air and go where you can wave and go, bye, mommy?
Yeah, with the sign holding up, yikes.
Yeah. And I bet homeowners insurance won't cover that shit at all.
Yeah, if like a flying car lands on your house.
Yeah.
Because someone be an idiot.
Yeah, and then you get Progressive to come out and Flo just goes, no, didn't sign up for that.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons will come out and go, those farmers commercials. Case number 255. Flying car lands crashes
in the living room
and we don't cover that on farmers because we ain't got that shit,
Bum.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway,
Taking pictures of Spider-Man.
That was fun. Can we do that again?
No. What'd you do this week, Ivan?
What I do this week? Well, let's see. I basically did what I do every week. Was on that spinning wheel, and I did take over the world. On as a video disc jockey, playing as many records as I can in a time frame, and of course. It seems like the people that listen to me, they seem more like they just want to stick on Facebook than they do on Twitch, and it just kind of bums me out because of the fact that, granted, on Twitch you don't have the communications that you do on Facebook, i.e. emojis and being able to respond to everybody in the chat. And the drawback on Twitch is that nobody comes up on their original name either, so that makes it kind of hard. But the fact that I did my program on Facebook, a bit just a touch begrudgingly, but I did it and it was fun. I just went on, and I just did a 1970s, disco dance type of thing on Sunday, which was from all accounts was well received, and that was fun.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that. I was on break that afternoon, so I was able to pop in, listen for a song or two.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I mean, I saw you, and so. Here, what else? So then, and the other thing about it was that I was also, putting that thing together. And then tomorrow, at the time of this recording, tomorrow, Tuesday, I'll be doing the Tuesday night experience, which is going to be.
That'd be a good day to do it.
Well, psychedelic playhouse of your mind, or how did I get here? That's the title of the show, which it's already self-explanatory.
I thought the name of the show would be Nachos, Please.
Nachos, please.
Yeah, it's 420. I mean, that's a hot thing.
Well, Taco Tuesday on Taco Tuesday. Look at that. I mean, on 420. So, I wish I had been able to give away coupons. That would have been kind of cool. But
I'm surprised Taco Bell didn't do some sort of like.
Oh, I'm sure at the cantinas they probably might be doing something.
But I'm like kind of but Taco Bell. I mean, that just seems like a.
That seems like a no-brainer.
Very popular stoner food.
Yeah.
Well, but being that person, that's not what I crave when I get to that point, of my journey. It's not, Taco Bell doesn't exactly jump up in my sensibilities of.
Well, you're not the right audience for that.
For what do you mean I'm not the right audience for that? What do you mean?
It's just a
it appeals to younger people, I think.
Yeah, well, or white suburban kids who don't know what real tacos are.
They don't know what real Mexican food is.
We know that. We all know that Taco Bell is an abomination, a tasteful abomination.
But it's the most popular Mexican restaurant in America.
An abomination, no less, because it's not genuine Mexican food, okay? And, being the Hispanic in this trio,
you're right. It's not even made with Mexicans.
Yeah, or with those type of sensibilities. And besides, I'm not Mexican, Jeff. Anyway.
I didn't say you were. I said it wasn't made with Mexicans. That's all I said.
I was trying to wrap my head around that last answer anyway, but it gets down to this: it's that no, when I think about it, when I get to that point in the journey, I dress it up in a bowl real nice. I'm not brash about it. I crave more towards sweets than actual food. I mean, that's why the purple. Snowballs that have been sitting there since Carter's regime, and then what else is there? Then there's
Producer Squared. I got a story for you about something purple.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Stay tuned. So
that's a radio tease for you folks at home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. And then if not the chocolate Maria cookies. Or the wafers, like the sugar wafers.
Like the Keebler fudge wafers or something? Or just the plain ones?
He means the ones with like the strawberry or the
chocolate or vanilla.
And all those. Yeah, those.
Yeah, exactly. Ones that you can get for $1 over at the Dollar Tree, and they do.
So, Ivan, you said you're not as popular on Twitch as you are on Facebook Live, but with Facebook Live, you run the risk of getting muted because of copyrighted audio.
Well, yeah, and see, people don't understand that. They just think that, Facebook is being annoying and they're just being assholes and everything. But then, see, people forget that Facebook was never meant to be a music platform. It was never meant to be that. It was meant to be a platform where people, showed each other's pictures. You
need to borrow Soraya's iPad.
Yeah,
you need to borrow Soraya's iPad and get your ass on Clubhouse, because they're letting them. I don't know what all the details are or all the rules are, but there's a lot of music rooms and a lot of places to DJ, and people hanging out in those rooms. Like, they have, I don't know if you're aware, they have this room that they call at night, they call it the lullaby room, where it's, music to, go to sleep to. And, people, flock into that room and, fall asleep and go to bed with it. It's one of the more popular rooms on Clubhouse.
I fell asleep on Clubhouse because I found a room that I can fall asleep in.
Well, there's have been, a couple rooms where they'll play jazz, or they'll be, jazz DJs and stuff like that. No, they're...
Oh, okay. It's still Wild West in there, huh? Okay.
Okay. So
and the other thing is, they're looking, it's funny, with the way that they're going, they're talking about, they want things to go more entertainment based, so I don't know what their story is with all this yet, and it's still kind of Wild West, but right now, people are DJing it up, so.
I actually went on my phone and I did find an app for that Clubhouse for Android. So, I'm going to give that a try and see if that gets me to go where you are.
I don't think it's the same company or the same thing. Although it is funny because I know that they are having a small amount of beta testers for Android, but I can't imagine it's what you're talking about. Because I know there's some other things that say Clubhouse that may not necessarily be what you're looking for. So
well, but that's why I said I saw a bunch of different sites on the apps, and I was thinking, I'll load one and see if it gets me to you, and the one that gets me to you is the one I keep. There you go. I mean, that's a simple.
Yeah.
That's a simple.
Well, like I said, I mean, the good news is they seem to be a lot more. The reason I even brought this up is because you're sitting there talking about it, it's like, man, I really wish that I had a platform that was a little bit more understanding. And from what I mean, now in fairness, I'm not doing a lot of music on those, but I get the impression that's not really a problem.
Well, like I said, it'll be just something I'll have to just kind of look into, and as time goes on, and see how things pan out with that. But like I said, it's not that I'm not popular on Twitch or anything. It's just that people, once they get set in their ways, especially, and I'll be honest, a lot of people my age, who just kind of set and they just want to set it and forget it. That type of sensibility, and to go ahead and I gotta Google Twitch, then I gotta go to the site, then I gotta hit the link, then I gotta answer the question, do I want the app or not? And then if they say no, then they get put on. But I think they just don't want to go through all the steps and just set it up.
Right, when you open the Facebook app, you can see Ivan's live, and then you can just join in, and that's it. There's less steps, right?
There's a lot less steps when you do it on Facebook, so that's why everybody jumps on Facebook, which I was really pretty amazed that I got up to the numbers I got to yesterday, regardless of the fact that I had to jump on and off 4 times within the framework of 2 hours, which is not bad. It's not bad. I mean, I average a stop every 25 to 30 minutes. So I just turned it into a station break and just, add some fluff in that end, and then just come back and just, come out with guns swinging, and doing it in that respect. So, but definitely, like it says, I've been seeing your Dynamite promotions there, Jeff, and I see that, you're really running with the ball, which that's really cool. You've set up a clinic, for training and everything. That's very cool, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff's opened a clinic?
Well, he's teaching, he's doing all
as long as it's not a colonic.
No, let's not have colonics. Colonics is no, especially after you're having cacahuetes.
Dr. Jeff will see you now.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, let's go ahead.
I'll make it Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah, he says, would that be latex or no?
No, we'll need the glove. Yeah, it's 2021. Come on, use the glove.
Yeah, lube or no lube. There's real answer.
Oh, that's fun. So, yeah.
I didn't even know you owned 70s disco music. Are you allowed to own 70s disco music? Doesn't that pretty much mean you have to give back your music card?
Well, no, because 70s disco music those were my first paying gigs back in 1978 and 79. Those were my first paying gigs before I evolved onto the scene, before the hip hop and before the industry and all that stuff like that. I mean, back at that time, it was a transition to what Fred Berry was doing, on American Bandstand, being one of the first ever, pop and lock dancers and everything. I mean, you saw his moves on What's Happening, and then he just went on to become this fabulous teacher.
Bandstand.
Yeah, and so with that whole sensibility going on, it's just coming down to the fact that I started with disco. That's I was a disco DJ when I started back at Janelle's on Urban
What was your disco DJ name?
No, it's the same name as I had.
Not Dusty Rhodes, not
No, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes was my my writing, my songwriting, and my writing, like for my stories and for my pictures. And then, when I was doing my own music, I was Dusty Rhodes for a while. And no, I never went by Dusty Rhodes as a DJ. Out in real life, that was just a creation out of just having a different.
Did you wear like a tank top with polka dots and shorts with polka dots and have a song where they say
not like the wrestler? No, not like the wrestler.
Poor Dusty Rhodes. That was the worst thing ever. Dusty Rhodes, like a freaking legend. Let's put him in polka dots and make him dance around like a clown. Poor Dusty. And then put him with poor Sapphire and have him dance around like a freaking like an organ grinder, like the entertainment. That's been
he's a monkey while the organ grinder just
like some dancing bear.
Oh man, like a dance. That's even more so. That's typical Vince McMahon too. But in fairness, he got his respect in the end from Vince McMahon. But no, I'll keep thinking about. I hate that man sometimes. As much as Dusty Rhodes was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, there is a time where all I can hear is that cowbell going clink, clink, clink. He's just a common boy. That whole thing where they that with the really bad theme music that he had from back then. It was like, oh no. No. So I'm sorry. It's just every time I hear you say Dusty.
I think maybe that was part of the appeal, Jeff. The whole quiche of the whole thing. Not quiche as in something you eat, but catch. You know the word I'm trying to say, guys.
No, the problem is that you're talking about. So Dusty came in, and the tail part of the. I want to say, was Dusty there in the tail end of the 80s, or was he there in the beginning of the 90s?
The tail end of the 80s.
See, the problem is he was there at the tail end of the 80s. And that was still when Vince McMahon was doing all the weird stuff where he was really, really trying to like go off, like still kind of trying to do stuff like from the cartoon. So, the dancing fat guy is just right up the typical 80s WWE idea. That's right up there with.
Okay. Well, that was that whole Carnival Barker type freak show sensibility.
Well, they were making a lot of money that way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No,
but these dynamic personalities.
Right, but they put him in a situation, not, the sum of its parts, but just, okay, let's get Dusty Rhodes, but let's get Dusty Rhodes to dance in polka dots and look like a freaking,
because they couldn't do the things that they were doing with him back in what at the time was, I guess it was WCW at the point. At still time was the NWA, but WCW. It's not like they could do what they did back there. It was like every week they were like basically bleeding Dusty out like a stuffed pig, getting beat up by Ric Flair almost every week. You don't they can't do that with the kids watching on TV for the WWF at the time. That couldn't be done.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
couldn't do that.
Like anything else, the whole sensibility of what happens now is being dumbed down for those who are just too afraid to see it for what it truly is, Well,
I mean, that was at the time, though. I mean, it's
again another moment of product of its time. Yeah, Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure Dusty. Here's the part I was talking about. As long as Dusty got paid well, I don't think he gave a shit.
Well, yeah.
I could be wrong about that. I could be very wrong about that.
Well, I was wrong about Tracy Ullman. I was wrong.
You're wrong with Tracy Ullman.
That's what I said, Ullman.
You said it's Ullman. You with a U.
Tracy Ullman.
Ullman with a crunch.
Not almond, as in almond joy.
Not almond.
Well, she's got mounds.
Well, I like mounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but as we were saying, getting back to the whole point of...
did he play the Dancing Queen? That's what I gotta know. You didn't play any ABBA, did you? Please.
No. Okay, relax. No, I didn't play any ABBA.
Or the Bee Gees. I think you were required to play Bee Gees.
No. Listen, I didn't play any Bee Gees.
Isn't that pretty much the entire 70s?
No,
Bee Gees and ABBA?
Okay, first off, okay, when you think of the whole disco thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about Disco Duck. My bad. Bee Gees, ABBA, and Disco Duck. My bad. Sorry.
Well, yeah. Well, see, the thing is with disco music, though, okay, the only reason why it even came to the prominence that it did was because you had a bunch of disc jockeys in New York who got real freaky at a place called Studio 54 that's when it became that circus. You know, I mean, motion pictures have been made of it. You know, Thank God It's Friday. They got a big 3-album set if you want to listen to all of that. Or if you want to go see the DVD, which is utterly ridiculous. But then, you know, but when I started in the whole dance music thing or funk music thing, playing those type of records, they weren't known as disco records back in 1973, 4, 5, and 6. They didn't have that whole disco designation didn't become a thing until the advent of the Saturday Night Fever movie, okay, and that's when it became that thing.
Yeah, but then you had discotheques.
Well, but discotheques are an entirely different animal than discos in of themselves, because discotheques were a 60s sensibility discotheques. Okay, you had the girls dancing in the cages. That's when you had with the go-go girls, you know, with the short skirts and the boots and things of that nature. That's more of a 60s invention, an entirely different thing. I mean, it's still catered to the music crowd and the music of the day, but, you know, in a discotheque, you're doing the shimmy, the fly, the hucklebuck, the pony, the African twist, the hucklebuck, you know, all those type of dances. Whereas in a disco club, which, yeah, you'd be doing reds for ups, greens for downs, you know, the bathrooms were snow, you know, there was snow falling in July in all the bathrooms in those places, and of course, you know, then you had disco music. So, and definitely disco, besides, you know, it's dancing to its excesses, it was very excessive. And then finally, after all was said and done, and you had people across the board saying, hey, you know, we're tired of the same beat, you know, that's when it finally made the exit, and that's when punk came in, and that's when a new wave came in, and that's when you know, that's when you had the Sugar Hill Gang, and they came in, and then they totally changed the face of the music after 1980. So, you know, so disco, a lot of people think disco's been around for a long time. No, it was just a flash, just like many musical flashes in its day and times, you know, and, you know, and playing all those records again, I got to be 18 again for a while. And even then, I didn't dive into ABBA, and I didn't dive into the Bee Gees. That would have been too easy.
Low-hanging fruit, right?
That would have been too easy to do. Okay? No, I played Karen Young. I played the Temptations. I played Rick James. I played Candy. I played Candy Staten. You know, I played Le Pamplemousse. I played Laurel. You know, I played those were my disco / dance funk guys. I played the Ohio Players. I played I played Kool and the Gang, and those were my dance people. I played Mandrill, and those were my dance records.
Mandrill, wasn't he like an Iron Man villain?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, it's the same name. And you're saying he was an Iron Man villain? Well, that's wonderful. He's got a lot of rhythm. Not to mention the fact he sounds good, Mandrill. You know, I like to see Mandrill dance. Would Mandrill dance in a Spidey comic? That would be cool. I like to see that, Mandrill. villain dancing in a comic book. You know? Yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, another day, another way. So here we go. So yeah, so in answer to your sensibility, Jeff, yeah, and Mike, disco tech and disco, two different worlds. As far as the disco music was concerned, yeah, that was what I did on the Sunday, spinning wheel, which was well received. Everybody seemed to dig it. It was nice because it was visiting a place I haven't been to in years that I played, like disco music, especially the way I did it, on that Sunday where I had no announcements in between the music. I did it as a club set, and I mentioned it right at the beginning of the show. This is a club set, so there will be no announcements in between records. Because
not even any ads for Judy's Pizzeria.
No. That's the radio show, dude. That's all the time and place.
No paid advertisements. Okay.
No paid advertisements, unless of course I'm doing that on the Wolfman Jack Tuesday night, next Tuesday night, the next to last one before I go on hiatus May 1st, and and then of course the Temple House doing the jazz music has been lots of fun, something I enjoy, something I love, and it doesn't have the same crowd appeal as, say, the stuff on New Spinning Wheel because of it being jazz, blues, and R&B, which is not something that there are crowds for it, but it's a lot more. I guess it's more of an American thing than a British thing or a European thing in some places, but that's still left to be said, and the jury's still out on that. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, and then just trying to keep things up with things up with Julie and everything, and we're going to be going away for a few days to Galena in May, because it's something we've always wanted to do. I mean, cautiously, little thing at a time, little baby steps, and that it's just going to be me and her, a nice clean room, just to go out and check out the outside, forest and sit by the Mississippi River. Maybe, go to a shop or two, check things out like that. And then, just basically, just going there to just get away from Chicago for a while, just to change the scenery. Soraya's gonna, take care of the cats while we're away for a few days, gonna check that out and see how that works. Cause it's just gonna be me and her. So, and then we're doing it during the week, which we're not going to be surrounded by all kinds of people. So that kind of is relaxing. And since I got the second shot, I feel a little more comfortable, but not any less apprehensive, because I am going to have my mask and I am going to have my social distance. I'm still going to do everything I always did, because too many people get anxious, and people forget that you need to have 2 weeks after your second shot in order to be able to do things, because it's still, working in your system. The second shot kind of kicked my ass, to be honest with you. I still have a little pain in my shoulder, and I do have some tired, I'd be a little tired, I got some, issues like that. And of course, hence a little more medicating just to kind of level things out. Right. And, so aside from that, everything else is just rolling right away. So there's my exciting time. Sorry it took a little longer than it should have, but hey, Mike, what did you do this weekend?
Got into the DMV, got my driver's license renewed. Because Wednesday, I was tried to, because you go there, but you make an appointment online. So you got to go to the website. You can't can't just walk in and say, I'm going to come in and then that's it. They can't do that. So now you got to go register online. And that's complete bullshit. So spamming the website Wednesday, and I was dumb. And then Thursday, was it Thursday afternoon? Yeah, it was Thursday morning. I had to go in and before work, I got to the website. You have to keep spamming the website, and that's stupid. But anyway, I know they have people are saying like some kind of extension, like there's a certain amount of days past your license's expiration date where you can still get your license. It's still valid. But I got in, and this was only like a week before it expired.
Well,
so anyway, I got in, and I made an appointment, so I had to leave work early and just to get a little lunch on the way, and then to go down to Woodstock, and not the '60s Woodstock. It's the county seat for McHenry County, obviously.
Oh, okay. So it was a jean shop.
It was a what?
It was a jean shop, county seat. I'm sorry. There used to be a jean shop, blue jean shop used to be called the county seat.
Jeez, yeah, back in the mall. Jeez.
Yeah, so I'm just like, so you got your license from the county seat. Yeah.
So anyway, I had to get to Woodstock, and of course it was playing hopscotch on the floor. It's like, you go here, okay, sign this, go wait in that line. Okay, right, go over here, and they'll ask you a few questions. Okay, go wait in that line. So
yeah, it sounds like my dispensary visit.
Stupid. Anyway, I got my driver's license renewed, so it's good. Work's been kicking my ass. We've been very busy with this last week. But, of course, with snow coming tomorrow and maybe Wednesday, things might be slowing down a bit. But everyone's spending money like drunken sailors wanting to do their yard work like now. Everyone wants spring. Like they're using their money to push spring ahead as far forward as possible. And it doesn't work that way because it's going to snow tomorrow, dumbasses.
No, put it this way. There's your plan and there's God's plan, so you know.
Yeah. But anyway, work's been busy. Got a new lawnmower because I won a raffle in December. And so the boss was like, well, you won 3 things. You can get you a grill, a Yeti cooler, or a snowblower. I'm like, I don't need any of those things. I'll take a lawnmower in April. And he's like, okay, so today was the day. So I got the new lawnmower. Hooray. I'm excited I got a lawn appliance. So I guess I'm my father.
No, there ain't nothing wrong with that. You've always had a meticulous sense of yard,
Nah, it's green.
Yeah.
It works.
Oh, you like it. You like it. You take pride in it. You do. Nothing wrong with that.
So, just been... Of course, I got a couple days off this week, so I'm looking forward to that. And this Sunday is the Kane County Toy Show in St. Charles. So I got a couple of friends who are going to meet up there.
Oh,
A
cool.
couple of them go with me, so I'm going to have a good time in that. Of course, they had one last October where they had the buildings. They're spread out over more buildings where the tables were further apart, so people can social distance and all that. So they're going to keep up to the standards set by the state of Illinois. So I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, I haven't watched anything. Just Falcon Winter Soldier. We'll get to that later. But no, I haven't done much lately. Otherwise than just work kicking my ass.
Yeah. That's here it is.
Ivan.
Yeah, I know. You're making that. You're making that. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. As I was saying. I forgot. Go ahead.
What you been doing, Jeff? How's the clubhouse?
Busy. All the women.
Well, so it's interesting because I've been curating a storytelling room on Sunday night, and it's this past week was interesting. The last minute, I had someone cancel out because their mom had just taken the second shot for COVID reasons, and then one of the people literally had a tornado touchdown or had a tornado warning in their neck of the woods. So they were nervous about coming on then. So I had to pick some people up in the audience on the fly for the show this past week. I'm trying to think of other things that we did. Other things I did this past week that would make sense. I caught Invincible. We're up to I think this is episode 6.
Yeah, we're still good.
Yeah, it really is. It's entertaining. It's enjoyable. The storylines are good. It doesn't play stupid. The voice acting's very good. I mean, ironically, we were making fun of Farmers Insurance earlier, but J.K. Simmons
J.K. Simpsons as Omni-Man, right?
As Omni-Man is his father, and Sandra Oh is playing his mother. So, I mean, and Zachary Quinto is in there, and Seth Rogen's one of the producers. So it's it's a solid. It's a solid cartoon, and
it's
if you've got him, and it's based off of all the comic books. I mean, it took a little while for them to develop and put that out there, but
that went into it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got Amazon Prime, it's worth seeing. I think there's only going to be 8 episodes this season, so it's unfortunate, but I get it because I think they wanted to see how season 1 would go, and
they're testing the water.
Right. Well, I think that too, and it's animation, so I think they kind of
tread like that.
They kind of treaded that way. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like, I realize that we're coming into spring and we're coming up to summer, but it's kind of weird because I'm like, I know there's some network stuff that's back, but really, I'm kind of like sitting here and I'm like, I'm not feeling I don't feel like there's anything really new out there at the moment. That's like,
you're not feeling the content.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'll ask you, Mike. You've got Netflix too. Ivan, you've got too. Ivan's more busy watching Decades, so I can't ask him too much. But I don't know. I just feel like
that might surprise you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just not feeling like there's anything really, really amazing that's come out from Netflix lately. Where it's like, oh my god, I have to watch it. It's not like,
Yeah, not in the last couple weeks. No, I'm not seeing anything.
It's been kind of that lull. Maybe I don't know. Obviously the only answer is something we'll talk about later, which is the Falcon Winter Soldier thing, which has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm sorry. I did end up, because my mom wanted to see it, that the other Disney release that came out this past week that's going to be like the weekly, the one with what's his name, Uncle Jesse, is going to play the basketball coach on the women's high school basketball team. It's cute. It's not bad. It's livable for what it is. It reminds me of like those TNBC shows a little bit, like with that kind of the more you know attitude kind of thing.
The TNBC campaign. I remember that.
That kind of stuff, like a more recent, updated version of some of I don't know, Mike. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that Hang Time show? That for a while was Reggie Theus, and then Reggie Theus bowed out, and then they brought in Dick Butkus to coach the basketball team.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember.
No,
because you don't remember this.
Don't recall.
This was near the end. This was near the end of NBC's TNBC run, where they were doing like a lot of the shows aimed more towards the tweeners and the teens, but they were getting the younger kids too. Where it was, and one of the last shows that they had was this show that they called Hang Time, and the premise was there was a girl who was good. There was a girl, and since there was no girls team, she was on the boys team. And at the time, the lead person on the show was the guy who played the coach was former Chicago Bull Reggie Theus. I don't remember why Reggie Theus ended up not on the show anymore after a while. And there are a lot of reasons that I can think of off the top of my head why maybe Reggie was no longer on the show anymore. But I want to keep my mouth shut on that because I'm not positive. But their replacement decision is typical 90s fashion. Hey, we need somebody to replace. Who can we go out and get? Oh, I know. Let's go get Dick Butkus, because that makes all the sense in the world.
He needs to make rent this month.
Yeah. Who can we get that people have heard of before that would, never mind, it's the part where, the part I laugh about her is, he's a football player.
Right.
And people will be like, now this is the part where everybody goes, well, it's a fictional TV show. Yeah, he's
But
still
no.
a football guy.
He's still
Yeah.
a football
I mean,
guy.
He's still a football guy.
But he's a prominent, popular sports figure. Doesn't matter if it's football or basketball.
This is like at that time.
That was a studio mentality, yeah.
Right, well, because this was around the time frame where it's like guys like him and Bubba Smith were still really popular enough that they were getting TV movie gigs.
Yeah,
they were still getting.
Yeah, they run the Blue Thunder series in the 80s.
Well, right, and Police Academy helped too along those
Bubba
lines
Smith,
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a franchise that should get revived.
Right, yeah, Broadway Joe Davis.
No, Police Academy is too non-PC.
Right.
For today's age.
Oh my God, it would be great if HBO did it as a late night series where it was not PC at all. If they did one of those, because I can't, Netflix won't take a show I don't think Netflix will take a show like that, and Disney Plus won't. So it's got to be it's got to be either Hulu or something like that,
or
Stars or something,
Stars like that,
yeah, somebody like that, or Epix or somebody like that, to take a risk on something like that. The problem is I can't remember whose studios it is. That I'm sure they'll. I don't know. Is that Paramount? I don't remember who makes the Police Academy movies. But you'd think one of those. You'd think that whoever it is.
That sounds like an Orion Pictures project.
Hold on, let's see.
I think
the Police Academy Cinematic Universe.
Paramount. I think it was Paramount.
Well, if it was Paramount, then you know what? The Paramount Network. That was
Warner Brothers.
See, that's. Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go. The HBO Max. That'd be perfect for HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh my God, you could totally do that for HBO Max as a late night series. As a non-P. As a ST.
Remember,
an R.
In 80s, I think the first two Police Academies were rated R because of the square words and the titties.
Well, what's her name was in it? Leslie Easterbrook.
Leslie Nielsen.
Literally. Not Leslie Nielsen. There's a difference between Leslie Nielsen and Leslie Easterbrook.
I know the difference.
Very, very big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Very big difference. Yeah, I know. But
very big differences.
Yes, 3 actually, but okay.
Oh.
I don't get it.
I'm gonna leave it alone. I don't want to.
Boobies
I'm trying to think.
I think
the only other thing I said. Let's see. What else did I have this past week? Oh, I was up in Canada doing.
Did you bring you back some poutine?
No, I did not.
I thought you were going to say you were up in Leslie Easterbrook. I was going to say no.
I wish. Back in the 80s, I think a lot of people were wishing they were up in Leslie Easterbrook.
And then it's then was on cable the following year. Police Academy was in heavy rotation on cable back when I was a teenager.
Yeah, like the one scene where she takes down, I can't remember who it was. The one scene where she does the judo thing, and then basically her crotch is right in the guy's face. And it's like, who wants to go next? Everyone's like, oh, me. Yeah.
And Tackleberry, when she falls in love with Tackleberry. They're the gun nuts
in the first one, there's the guy who they don't bring back, the guy who's roommates with Mahoney. He
never came back. Yeah.
The Italian guy who used to sneak into the women's dorm all the time. And she finally caught him and basically basically banged the hell to the point where
she assaulted him.
Yeah, pretty much.
He didn't come back in the second film or any of that.
No, he didn't. He never came back at all.
Yeah, he wasn't a dynamic enough personality, I guess.
No,
he wasn't like the guy who did all the voices. I loved him. He's my favorite of the boys.
He was great. Yeah.
You know who that guy reminds me of? The Italian guy. He reminded me like that character from Fast Time from Richmond High. The guy was
the
he kind of had that thing going on. Somebody thought that was a good idea for we
need to get a hashtag. We got to revive the Police Academy universe.
I thought
I'm sure Gutenberg would be up for it.
You know what? I thought I had read
revive that, and then have another series like American Pie, which there's another franchise right there.
You know, I only saw the first one, the first American Pie film.
But dude, those Ivan, that stuff's still going on.
Well, yeah.
That American Pie stuff is still out there. I mean,
well, yeah.
Eugene Levy is not let that die.
No, he's.
I mean,
still want to be the nerdy dad, yeah.
Well, no, he's like now he's like somebody like he's like there. He's like the camp counselor. Like there's one that's like I think the last time I saw
it.
There's one. It's like American Pie band camp. There's one.
Yeah, the American Pie band camp. Yeah, the band camp is hysterical. I saw that one. That one was.
I mean, there's some really. I mean, it's gone. I mean, in fairness, they brought back the originals for I think like a reunion one, but like in between the American pretty much Eugene Levy, like anytime you could get like a American Pie movie going, he was like a B movie going, and it was all over the place. I mean, it was like, okay, let's go with it.
Well, you know, and it just kind of follows like, you know, your whole National Lampoon type sensibility too, which that, you know, they ran that over a bunch of different movies, even some that, you know.
But those had at least a level of like, Eugene Levy like literally was like, I could use another paycheck. I could make another American Pie movie. I'm pretty sure of it.
Well, isn't Eugene Levy part of Schitt's Creek too? I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, so he's got that big deal going on Schitt's Creek, which yeah, so it's not.
No, but keep in mind that the American Pie stuff was all before the Schitt's Creek thing happened.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that was his bread and butter, Eugene Levy. You know, when he was doing all those movies, you know. And I caught the first one, the second one. I caught Band Camp. You know.
There's like three. I think there's three movies with the legit cast. There's three movies with the legit cast, and then there was like a reunion one with the legit cast. But then there's in between stuff where it's like they had like Stifler's cousin, and they had all kinds.
The whole Stifler angle, you know, the MILF thing that is happening with that whole experience.
Well, no, they brought in Stifler's cousin is here, and then. And you know, and there's nobody in the movie except for like Eugene Levy from any of the original movies. Like that kind of.
It becomes piecemeal after that. Okay, I get it.
Right? No, that's why we said with like Band Camp. It's like there's like nobody in that movie except for Eugene Levy, who's from the original movie. Like, and he does. And there's like quite a few of those movies that are like that, where literally it's like none of the original people are in the movies. It's just like a bunch of kids that they got cheap. And they were like, "Hey, we can run this American Pie thing going."
You know, and the thing about it is that Eugene Levy, you know, he legitimizes the entire project. So it's kind of like, well, Eugene Levy, at least we know he'll sign on to this.
Well, go ahead. Sign on. I think he pretty much basically was producing the whole damn thing, which meant he was getting more money on it.
Oh, so basically he's wearing all the hats now. I get it.
Yeah, it's cut the checks, bitch. Cut your check, bitch. Cut your check, bitch. Kind of thing. We have another script. This is horrible. Will it make me money? I don't care. Let's go.
We'll work around it.
We'll figure it out. Like we'll take it to the bank. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll play a few times on Comedy Central on rated late at night, and everybody will be like, "Oh, this." We'll watch it a couple times and go, later go, wait, I watched that for 2 hours. But,
those kind of comedies are produced on a low budget, so they're bound to
right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, produce low and, you know, hopefully returns are high. That's how B movie, you know,
yeah.
So.
I'll tell you, what's her name? Shannon Elizabeth really pretty much rode those couple of scenes. And it's funny because after that, it's like, and she was like, after that in the Playboy shoot, she was like, never getting naked again. I think she's still playing pro poker. Last I heard.
Huh.
Yeah, she became a professional poker player for a while. They used to do that.
That Texas Hold'em became very popular.
Oh yeah,
right.
The Wide World of Poker.
No, like with the World Series of Poker and all that stuff. But NBC
that's
used to
World
run.
Series of Poker, yeah.
NBC used to run late at night. They used to run a show after the Tonight Show.
After all the late night programming.
I can't remember the name of it, but they'd bring in like 5 big time poker players, and it was like an elimination thing every week, and there was like big money. It was like an after hours pot game kind of thing.
It was on,
and they used to run it
4 in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like right after like Carson Daly. It's like if anybody still was watching Carson Daly at the time. God bless that Carson Daly basically eventually got out of that really late spot, and I think he's still doing the Today Show in the morning. I know he's obviously The Voice, which was the huge one, which was always the part I laughed about, which was, Ryan Seacrest making all that money, making all that American Idol money, and it's like, you got Carson Daly. He was pretty much the guy in the late 90s when it comes to all that shit. And he got stashed away to the late night spot and that later show that used to be Bob Costas. And it's like, man, you dummies.
Yeah.
But they eventually figured it out.
I watched an episode about Ryan Seacrest and just how he has become the voice, the look, the person. And I'm just like,
now he's like taking the place of Dick Clark at New Year's.
Oh yeah,
well, right. Didn't he pretty much buy out Dick Clark? Didn't he pretty much buy out Dick Clark? Wasn't he his protege?
I don't know that for any facts. That's a Google thing. But I know that he was his underling for a long time, when Dick Clark was doing the the New Year's Eve show.
Even before Dick Clark had his stroke, which was kind of
even before he had his stroke.
That's kind of unsettling to watch in those latter years.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah,
that was hard.
We can also thank Mr. Seacrest for the fucking Kardashians. So,
well,
didn't Seacrest come from the E Channel? It seemed like he was born of the E Channel.
No, actually, it was kind of the other way around. It was like. I don't know where he started. But Idol was before all that stuff.
Right.
Well, okay, yeah. So I think he always wanted to be in broadcasting, and I think he went to school for it. He got educated in it, and then he did some local programming, and I think he got discovered, and then that's how he pretty much got into it.
That other guy, the other guy who decided to walk away from American Idol after season 1. He didn't get fired either. He walked away.
Oh, who was that dude?
The co-host guy who was on every VH1 reality Fat Camp or I Need to Get My Life Back Together show. I can't remember his name. And he used to make jokes about it. He goes, "Yeah, I'm the guy who was dumb enough to walk off American Idol before it was yeah." But how would you like to live? How would you love to live? I mean, honestly, how would you love to live that life where it was like, yeah, I could have been pretty much living in a mansion, but I decided I was too good for American Idol.
Forgetting to turn on the mind before putting the mouth in gear.
It's like the dude, the one guitarist who quit the Red Hot Chili Peppers before their Under the Bridge came out, and then they were all over the place. Then he came nationwide. I think they brought him back eventually. I think.
And the beauty of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. Just a side note here, the fact that not only do they make great music. The fact that they could go ahead and talk and work, flee from the Red Hot Chili Peppers actually was on the album called Cash with Johnny Cash, which he did a hit called Lucky Hate.
Cash did a lot of collaborations before he died. A lot of covers,
Phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
Hurt. What's his name? Whatchamacallit? Hurt is better by Cash than it is by 9 Inch Nails.
That's some would argue. Yeah, that is. Well,
No.
Well, see, okay, well now, but then, you got something where Johnny Cash this is something he's touching upon and going into because his soul feels that. Whereas, you got Trent from Nine Inch Nails, which, Pretty Hate Machine and the hard, edgy, sharp images that he creates with his music. I mean, that's something he's always done against something that Cash is just addressing in that moment, where it's like, oh well, I got members of I got Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I got members of Soundgarden playing on a couple of my cuts. I got a couple of members of Pearl Jam doing some cuts on my album, which of course
that's around the same time. Oh, sorry.
I was just mentioning I played Sunday Morning Coming Down in the truck on the way to work this morning.
Yeah. I mean, that's around the same time whatchamacallit decides he's going to do a whole bunch of collaborations too, right? Isn't that around the same time that Santana decided all of a sudden he was going to show up and basically be like, hey, let me find a whole bunch of current artists to start working with.
Yeah, when he came up with that one dude, that one cut called Smooth, which was
what's his name, Rob Thomas.
They're still playing somewhere on some radio station somewhere.
Yeah. So, but the thing is,
Rob Thomas from what's the band?
Matchbox
band.
Matchbox 20.
Was it Matchbox 20? I might have been Matchbox 20. Boy, that's bad. But yeah, Rob Thomas. Yeah. And then he did a couple other collaborations too. Like what's her name was he did one with what's her name, Michelle Branch, that was pretty good too. And there were a couple others that he did. He did a whole album like that.
Well, he did one with Elizabeth Pena, the actress, which I thought was phenomenal.
Right, but we're talking about, is that the same one from late in the 90s where he did Smooth and all that? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was when, but I think Cash kind of predates Santana in that whole situation.
Okay.
Before.
Yeah, it might.
But no, because, and then of course also who else was there? Loretta Lynn also did that too. She had some younger members playing along with some of her music and such. And she's released a couple of albums too with the younger bands. So it seems to be, that the collaborations between the older artists and the younger bands. It's it's good.
Even more recently, it's not exactly bands, but Tony Bennett has done collaborations with Lady Gaga, for God's sakes.
Exactly. There's my point. Look at that whole thing with Luther Vandross and him doing duets and all the stuff that Frank Sinatra did.
Right.
Duets. Look at all the stuff that, Tony Bennett.
As long as it's not Sinead O'Connor, then Sinatra will be fine.
Yeah. Speaking of music, I know this might have come as not very good news to a lot of people, but Taylor Swift recently broke a record set by the Beatles.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not as, look, there's some of her music I like, there's some of it I don't. I'm not against Taylor Swift. I think the biggest headache I had about Taylor Swift was there was one year when I was working at the office and there's that Love Story song. And the problem was the guy whose office was across from me was a bigwig guy, and he was playing XM. And he was he had the XM Top Hits station on. And that's a high burn radio station, which means they're playing the top hits all the time.
Wow.
Every hour that song would play. Maybe not even every hour. Maybe every half hour that song was played. To the point of where me and this one other person who was working over that way was like, oh God, make it stop. We both even said separately, we both admitted that we had nightmares in the middle of the night, breaking open, waking up in a cold sweat because we had some sort of Taylor Swift love story, nightmare. It was we wanted to die.
It was their seventh #1 album in the UK, which was the record previously set by the Beatles. But the Taylor Swift song, I don't, not.
Well,
a fan,
rules were meant to be broken. Records were meant to be broken. So I mean, nothing's going to stay the same, forever. So yeah, and when was the last relevant Beatles recording or member of the Beatles recordings that's actually done anything the last 20 years? Outside of Paul McCartney, with his little niche, productions and products over the last 10 years.
Well, nothing.
He did a collab with, didn't he do a collab with either Kanye or Jay-Z?
I'm not sure. I'm not.
I know he did with one of them. It's one of them, but I don't remember which one.
Well, I know he did. He did a session with. Because there was a documentary called Studio City, and and I guess the guy from the Goo Goo Dolls did in the last part of the movie did a collab with Paul McCartney in the movie. But that I'm talking that
I think it was Kanye.
Was it?
There was a tribute to Rihanna. I think Kanye West and Paul McCartney.
Right, that's what it is. It's Rihanna. I was going to say Rihanna's on. I think Rihanna's on that too. Yeah. It's Rihanna, Paul McCartney, and Kanye West. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's got to have been in the last 10 years.
That was 2015.
Okay. Is it 2015? It's that more recent? Okay, I knew it was recent. I couldn't remember when.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, but other than that, yeah. So so Taylor Swift is.
Hey, call me. Do you like fish sticks?
Hey, good on her. Good on her.
Here's what I'm really surprised by. What I'm really surprised by with all the stuff with all the resampling and all that stuff that's out there, I'm continually surprised by how the Beatles haven't really been resampled by some of these guys.
Blue Man Group did him.
Well, okay,
for example, Michael Jackson hasn't really been resampled. I would have thought by now he might have been by certain people. There's certain artists where I would have thought some of this stuff from the 80s was basically made
would have been sampled.
Right, would have been sampled for hip hop purposes, and it's maybe it's just contractual issues. I don't know, but I'm really always surprised because there's stuff where it's I'm always man, it'd be interesting to see this as a remix piece from somebody else, which would be interesting to see.
Well, I could, here's something for you. I had a friend of mine named King Tony, and he runs Happy as a Lark Records. And
King Tony, that was his first name, King, and.
Well, King. No, well, they called him King Tony because he is a disc jockey.
Does he know fat?
Of reggae sounds, very distinguished gentleman, lovely man, and he had brought in a recording to the record shop, and it was ska versions of everything that Michael Jackson put out there remixed. It was extraordinary, and he had pressed a bunch of these copies up, and he played it in the shop, and it just blew me away. That that it was Billie Jean in a ska sensibility. It was really good.
So it was Michael. I could talk. So it was Michael Jackson's vocals.
It was Michael Jackson. It was some of Michael Jackson's vocals, with most of his instrumentation. But then some of the tracks were remixed out to give it a hefty ska dance feel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really done well. I was really amazed, and if I ever someday come across that, I'll turn you guys onto it. I mean, I think you can probably find it on YouTube. I'll have to send.
I think maybe that's funny. I think that's the real answer. I think the real answer is that the reason why we're not seeing it sampled by artists is because there's so many people on YouTube doing mashups. At this point, it's I wonder if people's reaction is why bother.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the mashup has become the new sample foundation because there's right now there's a big Motown sampled recording making the rounds in England. And it's just several different, Motown records, along with a heavy bottom beat, but yet it's got the trips and trills of all the disc jockeys, doing a little bit here and there and leaving their identity on it. And it's very well done. It sounds really, really good, So I think the mashup is the new sampling.
The official music video for Michael Jackson's Billie Jean on the Michael Jackson's YouTube channel has gotten 969 million views.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I still remember. You know what I remember? It's funny. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. There was somebody who took. And it was at the time when Eminem was still beefing pretty bad with like a lot of the pop stars back in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say someone took the real Slim Shady, and I cannot remember which of the two songs it was. It was either Oops, I Did It Again, or I'm Not, whatever, what was the other one? I'm Not That Innocent from Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
And they used the music track with the lyrics from Eminem for
Oops, I Did It Again.
And it's hysterical because it's like, if I'm Eminem, I'm like literally, you probably blew his stack when he heard it, because it's like okay, here's this bubblegum pop background.
I know.
Here's these hard spitting lyrics.
Yeah, even with Weird Al, I remember hearing that Eminem would not let Weird Al parody his video. They let him. He did a parody of "Lose Yourself," where he's talking about TV shows. But he wouldn't let Weird Al do a video for the parody of "Lose Yourself," his parody of it. So Eminem's been he's like that.
He has his he's like that. And the only thing I can say is something that Chris Rock reminded me of one time on a monologue when the MTV Awards that were actually still cool, which is he's like, you don't mess with Eminem. There's a lot of shit that rhymes with rock. If you could ever find like some of those monologues from those MTV Awards, like in the back in the 90s,
they were gold.
Like the one where, like, I think that's the same monologue where he's like, Chris Rock is talking about it. It's like, Jennifer Lopez is here. She took 2 limos, one for her, one for her ass. I think that's the crazy part is, if I remember correctly, Eddie Murphy hosted that damn show 4 times.
Yes, he did. He did.
But it was in the early days. It wasn't in the late days. It's like
right.
And
but when it was still the Wild West out there,
Yeah, back when I think it was funny, and I think it was it after? God, it's got to be before Dice.
I think it was before Dice.
When Dice went on there and basically just
brought the place down.
He did a couple of jokes from his regular stand-up routine, but they were considered quite risque for the time. Yeah.
He did the Hickory Dickory Dock. That bitch was sucking my cock. The clock struck. Yeah, that one. He did that one. Although, in fairness,
this puppet sat out a tough it, eat their curds away. Along came a spider and sat down behind it and tried and said, "Hey, bitch, what's in the bowl?"
Yeah. In fairness, that may have been the best thing that ever happened for him at the time. That was at a time when you need to find a way to stand out, and rap was using those big huge things on their album covers about warning. This is especially
Tipper Gore,
and making a whole bunch of money because it was like, ooh, I can't have this. Okay, Dice gets banned off of MTV, and it's like, oh my God, what does he talk about? And like every freaking kid,
every comedy club wanted him. Yeah.
Well, he was selling out. I mean, he sold out Madison Square Garden 5 nights in a row. I mean, I think he was here in Chicago at one point, like 3-4 nights in a row. I mean, the guy was selling. I mean, for all the people who bag on him, and I get it. I understand certain reasons why people will be annoyed with him. But the man was like, at that time,
go ahead.
It was uncalled. It was unprecedented. Even guys like Murphy or Williams weren't selling out arenas the size Dice was selling out. I mean, they weren't doing it.
And there was one episode he hosted Saturday Night Live, and I think one or two of the female cast members didn't want to be on that week with him.
Well, and then of course, the movie Ford Fairlane, for better or for worse, depending on which side of the coin you want to look at.
Yeah, Mike and I have very, very differing opinions on Ford Fairlane.
Okay, and then here's the other thing about it, too, was when he got in touch with his record company, All American, and then of course in reprimand to him breaking his contract, some of his not so stellar material ended up getting released on album. If you find those now, hold on to them, because there are performances where it's literally Andrew Dice Clay having a really bad night, and he's being heckled, and people are booing him off the stage, and all this other shit. Yeah, there's an album out there. Yeah, don't piss off your producers,
I can't remember what it was. It had to be HBO, where they have this little thing where they did this little skit at the beginning where it's like little Andrew Dice Clay, and he's at home, and he comes home from school, and like I can't remember if it was his mom or his dad, and it's like, yeah, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Or something like that. Where it's just like, I don't remember what the content was like. What'd you learn in school today? Yeah, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. And it was like, God. But man, the sad part is he keeps shit. That guy has had a million opportunities to come back, and every time he shoots himself in the foot. He shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah.
Call it principle, call it whatever, but.
Well, no,
it's just like what happened with Paul Rubens. I mean, he had the world by the string, Pee Wee Herman, 2 movies, a television, an Emmy winning television show.
Yeah, but in fairness, this is where to me I laugh. This is where MTV is it really lost it, because MTV would do things like, I still remember, I remember that summer where everybody's making every Pee Wee joke on the planet, and they open up freaking the MTV Movie Awards, and out walks Pee Wee Herman, and he goes, "So, heard any good jokes lately?"
Yep.
And the entire place just goes up, and he's only there to do that, and it pretty much,
I think it was either 90 or 91. When all that hit, because I remember
something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
But the point being is that's the part that's sad. It's not even about the part with MTV about the music videos. It's the part about MTV where it's like, MTV used to be the Pulse. It used to be
the epitome of cool.
Right? Did you see what happened on MTV? Did you see this? That's not the case anymore.
No. Well, and it hasn't been since MTV decided to become one with the as you would say, one with the unwashed. Okay, and stopped being cutting edge television, because in its inception, it was considered cutting edge television, because at the time, whoever thought anybody was going to watch videos 24/7, and created a whole new industry, a whole new cottage industry.
Yeah, changed the music, changed the entertainment industry
forever.
Yeah.
And then those that had the sight to see it for what it was. One of the most unlikely people that saw, the Renaissance man himself, Mr. Michael Nesmith of the Monkees. Yeah, that's right. Michael Nesmith. Video killed the radio star. That was his baby. Okay. And,
but here's the thing. We can't, here's the part where it's funny, because it's like, the irony is, if tomorrow they figured it out, they'd be back on top again. And hear me out. Think about this. It wasn't that long ago that a bunch of people went to the Jersey Shore.
Right.
It wasn't that long ago where basically everybody on the planet, I shouldn't say everybody, but like pretty much most people on the planet were watching Jersey Shore. And, and now it's like, I mean, maybe they've got shows like, I mean, I know there's people who still watch the Teen Moms and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's just interesting to me because it's like, I feel like they've, you know, I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly what it, other than the fact that maybe we're old.
Well, no. I don't think the age, I don't think the demographic has nothing to do with it. Because, you know, okay, because, yeah, sure. You want to keep it fresh. You want to keep it different. You want to keep it cutting edge. Not everybody has the same idea of what that particularly is. One person's idea of cutting edge to you might not be, it might come off as a dull knife. Maybe to you might come off as something that's too far left or too far right. You know, what is the definition of cutting edge? You tell me. Okay, but, you know, to try to replicate that type of thing every season is not an easy task. It's not, you know, the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, but for a while, MTV had a good staff of writers and producers where they created content that was must see.
And the documentaries were, in fairness, some of the documentary stuff was the stuff with, I mean, this, and I don't feel like they do those anymore. Like the whole, you know, like Kurt Loder would come out with all those things where it was like,
behind the music.
Well, not even behind the music.
That was VH1.
That was VH1. But like the stuff where it was like I'm an anorexic, or hey, I'm trying to be a pro. I'm just using certain examples because I can't remember them all. Like, hey, I'm gay. Like that kind of stuff where they would do like a 24, like where they follow like 3 or 4 people, or like, hey, I want to be a professional bodybuilder, and like a bunch of young kids who are trying to be professional bodybuilders or this kind of stuff. And they'd follow them around and that kind of, I mean, that kind of stuff was.
That was what reality television should have been.
Well, I mean, the funny part is at the time they were doing both. They were doing both, and the only thing I can come up with is the real world stuff. How do I put this? Is a lot less pricey.
Well, but it's a lot more scripted too. You know, it's not as instantaneous or spontaneous they tried to make it out to be, especially in the early part of the series. You know, when they tried to play off on that whole, oh well, this is happening as it's happening because it's happening right now because it's happening, and then here it is, 10, 15 years down the line, you discover, oh, everything was just as it was planned.
Yeah, well, we found that out with other shows too, where reality shows have turned out to be, oh yeah, that's so scripted, or it's how the producers edit the videos or edit the stories to make it look like, that's obviously not.
Always the formulation behind the scenes. Oh, the classic, we'll fix it up in post, which that's exactly what it is. They assemble it and they fix it up in post. Oh, okay. And then there were those shows on MTV where, you know, you just saw the cameras being jostled around and, you know, people being in the shot and all this other shit, which kind of gave it a whole lot different aesthetic to the presentation of the content, you know, and so once that became passé, which now it's like let's try to go on to the next big thing. But again, it's hard to do, to be cutting edge. And for a while, MTV seemed to have the magic touch, you know, from what, 82 on to about what, maybe the early 90s, I want to say, until they started.
No, early 90s. I keep going, my friend.
Yeah, because like.
No. I'm not saying
MTV was still viable in through the 90s.
Oh, even in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Even in the 2000s, they were pretty viable. I mean, I still remember I can't remember the name of the show, but there was some show that they were doing that was kind of like a live show. It was their new answer because they were phasing out TRL, and Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy was the host. And I still remember because the reason I remember is it was like Katy Perry, back when Katy Perry was just getting hot with I Kissed a Girl. And there's a performance that she does on that show that's like, people were talking about that thing for a while. Like, hey, did you see this? I mean, it went viral.
That
I mean,
like
that's one of the things that got
2010. When I Kissed a Girl was, it was from.
Okay.
Right. That performance went pretty damn viral. And in fairness, there was some stuff from back then, like the Fall Out Boys were getting good play at that time. Even maybe the Kanye West and stuff. It's only been, I mean, and then again, and like I said, we just talked about Jersey Shore. I mean, I think the real thing that was interesting was, God, I can't remember the name of the show. There was a show that was right after Jersey Shore where they were doing a whole bunch of kids from West Virginia. And, like, it was basically the redneck answer to, like, Jersey Shore.
Oh,
No, not Duck Dynasty. Not even close. Not even close. I can't remember the name of it, and the reason people
Honey
won't
Boo
remember. No, not Ivan. No, not even close. Not even close. And the reason I can tell you this is I can't remember the name. I started with something about with a W, and it only went one season. And the reason it went one season is one of the cast members committed suicide after season one. And they decided to close up shop and not do, but it was really popular. It was a really popular series. It looked like it was the next big It series for MTV. And then I want to say it was called was it Wildwood? I can't remember.
Wildwood.
I mean, no, not Wildwood. I can't remember. Now I'm going to have to go look it up. Now I'm going to sit there and it's gonna eat in my brain. We'll see if this works. We'll see. Let's see MTV. Let's try MTV West Virginia show. Buck Wild. There we go.
Buck Wild.
That's what it was called. It was called Buck Wild. It was 2013. And it's funny because now the rating on it, of course, time changes things, but it's funny because it's like IMDb has a 4.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is 25%, but it's really amusing because Google, it says 79% like this show of Google users. So, but yeah, it was, I don't think it was, like I said, it was a really short-lived show because it was supposed to be their next big show. It's only 12 episodes, but it was supposed to be their next big show. It was supposed to be their next big show after Jersey Shore. And then the one guy committed suicide, and that was it. They decided, nope. And I think the people of West Virginia were not so happy with their depictions.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, there were some people from West Virginia not so happy about the depictions. About being a whole bunch of dumbasses.
Appalachians, yeah.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I guess we should get to some of the other...
We'll see what other news. We got the Shang-Chi trailer dropped today.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'll see it. It looks like a fancy kung fu movie. So.
Right. I mean, I guess that's the problem I have with that's the one thing I'm having kind of an issue is it's like, here's the interesting part. I didn't grow up on Shang-Chi comics. Shang-Chi was not really a big time character for Marvel in the 80s. And I don't know if he came back at some point in the 90s, but I don't recall it either. And I kind of did my reading in the 80s and 90s. And now I know some people who are friends of mine who are older, where Shang-Chi was a big character for Marvel in the 70s, and they were all thrilled. And I'm like, I don't know, who the fuck's Shang-Chi? Why, I mean, shoot, why don't you just go get Iron Fist and just not get the guy who played Iron Fist and yelling about his chi all the time? I mean, to me, I'd rather have Iron Fist, but that's just me. And they're like, you don't understand.
It's fine. I mean, it looks like you're with the CGI action scenes and some kind of tragic tale, and could be maybe a buddy comedy with him and the chick. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like it seems like a paint by the numbers action film
The
for me.
only
I might
thing
change my
is,
mind. Obviously, I'm going to go see it. So
the only thing I can come up with is, they're calling it something 10 Rings. I guess maybe the villain's the Mandarin, which I guess would be interesting.
Did you know the fortune cookie is from America?
Yeah, not that one. not that one.
Not Iron Man 3, the red herring that we got from Iron Man 3.
Although it's funny because isn't there a deleted scene where where supposedly he ends up where they're like trying to tease to make him actually become the real Mandarin after that? I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was. But I think that's the other problem I'm having, Mike, is, all right, great. All right, so you want to bring what? Kung Fu and the mystic arts and some more mystic arts to Marvel. And I'm like, that's great, but I'm like.
Yeah, it's got a few sprinkles of Doctor Strange in there, it seems like. So
maybe, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, so where does I don't feel like this fits the universe.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, I'm going to go see it because it's Marvel, it's MCU, and it's a superhero film. I'm going to go see it.
Is it a superhero film? Because I don't think it is.
He's a superhero. He's just got super kung fu powers.
Guy. That's not. Kung fu is not a superhero power.
Well, punching. There's one scene at the beginning where he's punching the stick a lot.
Superhero power, no?
No.
Is it fighting a superhero power?
No. What? We're gonna make Mike Tyson?
Then Russell Crowe would be a superhero.
Yeah. What? We gonna make Mike Tyson a superhero
fighting
now?
around the world.
Mike Tyson teaming up with Spider-Man.
Let's go, Spider-Man.
Let's go, Spider-Man.
Started to sell some marijuana.
Right. Avengers assemble. Avengers assemble.
Yes.
I got you, Thanos. I got you.
I don't think Thanos has any ears, though. He can bite off.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I bite. You better be careful. I bite off your toes. I don't know.
I bite you in the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I bite off all the Infinity Stones.
Oh my gosh.
A worm in his teeth.
I was saying put them up like grills on his teeth.
Yeah, an Infinity Grill. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you should get like Little John and have him like come up with the Infinity Stones on the grill and go, yeah.
So that happened. What else did we get? Other news.
Ryan Johnson apparently wants to direct an episode of The Mandalorian. No.
Why?
Fuck no. Hell no.
Why?
No.
No.
Oh, please, someone needs to make a video of this, or just
no,
Baby Yoda
and
throwing up the blue cookie.
No.
And the worst part is there's some people going, oh, sure, why not? What do you mean, why not?
No, because Ryan Johnson screwed up The Last Jedi. Yeah, that's why not.
Forget Ryan Johnson screwed up The Last Jedi. Let's just make it clear. Ryan Johnson pretty much divided the fan base.
No.
I mean, Star Wars fans were picky as it is anyway, but now
The Force Awakens got, it was tepid, it was lukewarm, but I get it, lukewarm. Yeah. But The Last Jedi The Last Jedi almost tore the Star Wars fandom in half.
Mm-hmm.
I think it still does. Although The Mandalorian has done some repair.
Done a lot of repair.
Has repaired a lot of damage with the toxic Star Wars fandom online.
Yeah, I rather watch The Last Dragon than The Last Jedi.
Mm.
I can't believe somebody actually did it. It's like Ryan Johnson. No, Ryan Johnson needs to shut up and go make his Knives Out movies that he's making a whole bunch of money from Netflix from. Stop it! Just stop! Stop it! What are you guys doing? No. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. We could do this. So I guess they're doing press for Fast and Furious 9. And I don't know how this came up.
Yeah, the trailer dropped. Yeah. God.
So, there was a trailer? I didn't see a trailer.
Yeah, there was a trailer. Yeah, we got a trailer for John Cena as Vin Diesel's brother. Oh, God.
We
Yeah?
didn't ignore
Okay.
this one like we ignored the last
It
one.
looks hilarious.
You know what?
It looks hilarious because obviously these action sequences, they ignore physics and they ignore gravity.
Yeah.
And
Of
it's just,
course.
just dumb.
John Cena needs to like walk up to Vin Diesel and be like, "You can't see me," at some point. So I guess I don't know how this happened, but apparently on the press junket, I guess because it's Universal and Universal's other big ticket franchise is Jurassic Park / Jurassic World, and I don't know how this came about, but somebody asked a question about what would be next since they're going into space for this one. Well, how about if you basically crossed over with Jurassic World and the director, the people who do
Jurassic World space.
So, director Justin Lin said he doesn't want to be boxed in, so it's distinctly possible that we could see the Fast Furious crew
we totally
versus
need
the dinosaurs.
We need Vin Diesel in a bubble helmet spacesuit, fighting dinosaurs outside, hanging out the window of his Dodge Charger.
Jurassic
In space.
World in space.
No.
With hey, he could be. Why? It could be fun. You could have Goldberg in the car yelling, "Must go faster! Must go faster! Must go much faster! Must go much." Okay, that's pretty fast. Okay, we can slow down a little bit.
Oh my God!
You know what? I'm not against it. I mean,
it could make for some very entertaining. It could make for some very entertaining.
Could you imagine if Goldblum's in the movie and he's like, "Life finds a way," and Bill Diesel's like, "Ah, shut up, fuck you." I mean, that would be
good.
I'm trying to look to see what else has been this week. They showed us pictures of the new Powerpuff Girls for the live action. I don't know. I want to hope it works. There's a part of me where I'm like, I hope it works. There's another part of me going, why? Why, God, why? Yeah.
Well, we saw how that worked for Sonic, right?
I did. Actually, it did, Ivan. It did really well in the box office. They're talking about a second movie.
Oh.
Yeah, they had to rework. I mean, the first
they
trailer, they had to
that
rework
stuff.
the Sonic's look because it looked like shit. But
Right,
it
but
worked.
then they made money. They
And
made
then,
money
hey,
on that movie. Big money.
That was one instance where they listened to the fans and they got it right. And at least to a lesser degree.
That was right. Wasn't it right before the that got released right before the pandemic, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
And that was the one last big movie right before the pandemic. So it was funny because, like, if movie theaters were open, they were still because they didn't have product. So that helped that a little bit too. So no, it's
okay. All right. Well, see, I learn something all the time from you guys. That's why I listen.
But yeah, that's.
I'm glad you're listening, Ivan. We're happy that you listen.
I do listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time. I'm a good guy.
He's smoking a bowl while he listens. You know.
Well, is that a bad thing?
No.
Okay.
Depends if you're crunching in the middle of paying attention to the middle of the show or not.
We put some of these stories on the Squares Roundtable Facebook page.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel has new directors.
Yeah. There's that.
So I'm looking forward to that because I really love that first one.
So yeah, give me a second. Hold on here. Trying to see if there's anything else of note before we get into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You think that this is the part where you should do show? I should have done show prep.
LeVar Burton, obviously they want him to replace Alex Trebek. They've had obviously the string of guest hosts on Jeopardy. So they want.
I want to make. Yeah, I want it made for the record that we called that before anybody.
Yeah.
We called that. We called that as a show. We were like, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
That's the guy. Apparently there's a 4-hour J.J. Abrams Rise of Skywalker cut.
Pass.
I'll watch it.
Only watched Rise of Skywalker once in the theater. I don't own the DVD. Of course, it's they put Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. I can watch it whenever. Yeah, but in this,
I just want to watch the one. I just want to watch the one scene again with what's his name in it. That's a great scene. That makes the whole movie.
The one scene with what's his name?
With Harrison Ford.
Oh, where Kylo Ren has the flashback to see Harrison as his father.
Yeah, that's the.
And the thing is that they played
in the whole entire series.
They played up that whole. They played up that whole evil Rey thing, and she was in where she sparks the double-ended lightsaber, and the red one, and that was it. And that was pretty much all you saw of evil Rey in Rise of Skywalker. So it was like anyway.
Like a blip?
No, we're talking about the blip in the other thing, in the other show.
Oh, okay.
The what? No.
Isn't it the blip? Or the dip? Or whatever the heck it is. When they all come back from the 5-year...
Yeah, that's the blip. They call it the blip. Yeah, the Thanos,
okay.
The snap, yeah.
So, what'd you think, Mike? Again, this show, I can only speak for me. This is exactly, I'm thrilled. I really am. This is what I need.
Yeah, gives it that MCU feel, and we're familiar with these characters. It's like old leather. You're digging the dynamic between the characters, and they're great performances. Although I don't know, I didn't do my research, but the only thing that just was a turnoff for me was just the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character. It was like, I don't know who she is. I'm sure she plays a greater part in the Marvel comics, but it's like Julia, the chick from Seinfeld.
I was surprised to see her there. I really was. I didn't realize that
she was trying too hard to be evil. I mean, all she needed was like a fake mustache to twirl. I mean, we know that she's up to no good. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's interesting to see some of where they're going with some of this because, they're mixing a couple of different storylines together here, and because all the Isaiah Bradley stuff is an entirely different storyline, and actually it's a graphic novel. Mm-hmm. And then all the U.S. Agent stuff is very, very different too, because U.S. Agent happened.
Yeah, Walker's had different reasons for giving up the shield.
And all that stuff and all that kind of stuff. And in fairness, Steve Rogers was still. They took the shield from Steve Rogers, the United States government, when they did that in the comics.
And they did confirm. I mean, this is the first time we have heard confirmation from Sam that Captain America, Steve Rogers is dead. And he said he's gone. I mean, obviously he.
That doesn't make any sense. I gotta be honest, that doesn't make any sense given the end of Avengers. Avengers is at the end of
Endgame. I mean, obviously he's very, very old, but he must have died after the events of Endgame and before the events of Winter Soldier. Falcon Winter Soldier. I was like, what's, and well, yeah, we'll get to what's in the box with the Wakanda. Bucky pulls a favor with the Wakandans for giving back Baron Zemo. And of course, he does the thing with he meets Zemo at the Sokovian Memorial, which he teased in earlier episodes, and then he meets him there, and then he pulls a gun. He draws a gun on him, and click, pulls the trigger, click, no bullets. And somebody compared that to the beginning of Karate Kid 2, where Miyagi goes up to Sensei Kreese in the parking lot after the events of the first Karate Kid, and says, enemies showed no mercy, and he's like, Kreese got him in some lock or something, and Kreese is like, he's got this terrified look on his face, and Miyagi just grabs his nose and goes, honk. That's pretty much what Bucky did to Zemo right then and there.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm thrilled that they didn't kill him.
Yeah, I am too.
Zemo's one of the more interesting villains that they had.
I agree with that. I totally agree that he's a great character, a great villain.
You know, if anything, my couple complaints, my only couple complaints at all in the series so far is I would like to have had more Sharon Carter, and it's really funny because we were
even
told,
like on the promotional poster, and she's only like been really on one episode. I mean, she's had a couple of 2-second cameos from phone calls, but that's it.
Just like it's kind of weird to me that it's like we've gone 5 episodes and we haven't seen Don Cheadle at all.
We saw him for like 5 minutes total in the first episode.
Right, that's it. But you would think with everything going on, you'd think that maybe he'd have been, at some point, he just showed back up.
Yeah, because, Sam is also Air Force, like
right.
Ray.
Right, well, that's what I mean. That's kind of the weird...
And he's got this guy, Torres, like this go-to guy. I don't even know, like, the relationship between these two characters, whether, like, one's like an informant or just, like, kind of like his secretary. I don't know.
He's kind of like a tech guy. I mean, the best way to put it is he's kind of like your, at least the way they're making him out, because I don't know about the comics, the way they're making him out is kind of like who's the guy for the Punisher who sits in the van who does he gets them all the information and shit like that. I can't remember the character's name, but he's kind of got that kind of vibe.
Sidekick, like Weasel from Deadpool, like he's the one who's got the nose of the ear to the ground of all the happening info that the hero needs, But no, this was good, and I also, that Wyatt Russell, he's got so much of his father in him. I mean, like when he's at the tribunal or the court hearing or whatever, the hearing where they, obviously they give him a less than honorable discharge, but man, just like that chin and his this bone, like his face. I mean, he's got a lot of Kurt Russell in him, obviously, but yeah, that's great. It's a great arc for him.
I think he needs to go find his home. And then go put balloons or go fly away.
Come on now. Let's retire. He's not wearing the cap armor or the helmet no more, so you don't look like the guy from Up.
That is so low. He still kind of does a little. I think the most interesting thing to me is, and this is my question to you, Mike. How do you feel about the legacy of Captain America these days?
Well, you mean like just in the MCU?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there were glory days with Steve Rogers. Of course, now we've got this CD past with Isaiah and all this, what happened with John Walker. It's not just about the Stars and Stripes anymore.
Well, and I think that's the interesting, because I think that's the interesting question, and that's the debates I'm seeing and I'm reading is that there are some people really uncomfortable with
Captain America no longer synonymous with patriotism and pride in the United States.
Well, and I think that's the interesting thing. It's not even just that. I think there's a lot of people with how Chris Evans has portrayed the character and what Steve Rogers is and is about, where there's this, hey, wait a minute, that's not Captain America. This is Captain America. And I think that people need to understand that there's a difference between the Captain America program and Steve Rogers' Captain America. And I think that's where some people are having the gray area problem, is that, look, this is the United States government who basically spends from the minute Captain America's created to try once again to create a super soldier program. And the truth is, to this day, technically in the MCU, if they had access to those vials, they'd be trying to create it again.
So they're setting up. Obviously they've been trying the super soldier serum for decades now, and they've gotten it right with a few people. But he said some of his friends have died, and there's been obviously horrible side effects with some people. But anyway, they have this. Then
remember, Mike, they actually technically, if you think back about that Hulk movie with, what's his name, Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton,
really, there's a part of that premise in there that what they were working on in there, where the Hulk became what he became, and Abomination became what he became, right, was all because they were trying to recreate the Super Soldier Soldier formula back then. Yeah. Even though that's really not having in regular comics, that has nothing to do with anything. But in the MCU, Hulk's creation and Abomination's creation have to do with the fact that they were trying to recreate the Super Soldier formula. I mean, I think that's so. I think they.
Question, just a question, okay?
Look it up.
What's your question, Ivan?
No, nothing like that. No, seriously. The whole thing with excuse me. As I was going to mention about the whole thing with Captain America.
Yeah.
And has the super serum thing always been prevalent in the storyline of Captain America, or is this a newer sensibility within the frame of the story? Because, having read some of the earlier Captain America magazines growing up, and I don't, not to my memory, ever remembered how he sustained and had his powers. I mean, he had the shield, he had all of these different powers, but they didn't really dive into it then, as they seem to be doing now. So does this trace back to the 1980s, the 1990s that they started this?
I don't think so. I think it's all the way back at the beginning.
Yeah, I think the Super Soldier Serum has always been a part of Captain America's reason for his superpowers. And that was one thing, though, cool, too, was when we had this episode. We had a montage of Sam learning how to use the shield, and he's getting buff, and he's getting back in training, and montage. So he's bouncing the shield off of trees and stuff. But to answer your question, Ivan, I think Super Soldier Serum has always been part of it. That's how Red Skull got his powers, which is Captain America's main foil, his main nemesis.
Well, okay. I'm curious. I'd have to...
Totally serious question.
No, that's fine. I mean, I, in fairness, I don't know in the comics. And again, that's the thing, Ivan. Keep in mind, the comics are just a gauge to the TV and the movies.
Yeah,
they're not going to be followed. They're not going to be followed to the letter of the law. In that regard. So they're trying to. In fairness, they're trying to build their own continuity, make their own continuity work.
Oh, they're just, never based the comic book universe against what's going to happen in the media universe, because the media universe kind of uses its own sense of poetic justice or license to do stories.
Where exactly, the Civil War movie was like 10 people fighting in an airport parking lot, where the comic was much more on an epic scale, obviously, because there were so many more people in play, and more players.
Well, I mean, for example, in the comic, I mean, first of all, Peter Parker at that time wasn't like a teenager. Peter Parker was in his 30s or so. And one of the biggest things about the Civil War comic is that, yes, Peter Parker is Spider-Man is on Iron Man's side, and he reveals himself to be Spider-Man. I mean, that's the end of, I think, I can't remember if it's issue 1 or issue 2, where, and it's funny, there was a big debate amongst the Marvel editorial about should this happen in the Civil War.
Should Peter Parker reveal himself as Spider-Man?
Well, the bigger debate was, does it happen in a Civil War comic, or does it happen in a Spider-Man comic? Which is an interesting question.
Yeah. Because there are so many crossovers in Civil War.
Well, not only that, but it's like, this is an iconic moment where Spider-Man's revealing himself, and you're not going to do it in an actual Spider-Man comic. You're going to do it in some crazy crossovers.
I mean,
wouldn't you
want to draw attention to your own story continuity?
Well, you want to sell Marvel wants to sell comic books, so that's what they did.
They wanted to pop a moment.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to episode 5, Falcon Winter Soldier. It's all leading up to this big fight in New York City that's coming because of this GRC, whatever the global something, the council for whatever, for relocating all the people who came back from the blip. So now the Flag Smashers are in New York City, and shit's about to go down, but Falcon Winter Soldier are on the case, so we're gonna this Friday. Can't wait to see it.
I don't see how this ends with any real resolution.
We'll see the Flag Smashers probably get arrested. Maybe one or two of them die. Maybe
you
Carly
think so?
will die. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll see the end of the Flag Smashers. I don't
think so. I don't think we do.
We'll see.
I don't think we do. I don't think that this is. I don't think this is really the end. I think.
Think we're gonna get a season 2? I'd love to get a season 2.
I just think there's a lot going on after episode 5, where it's like there's a lot still there, and I just wonder if they're really going to be able to wrap all of it up in one episode, given everything that's going on. And to me, the only answer I keep coming up with is, okay, they don't. Kind of like WandaVision. WandaVision ends, and they really haven't wrapped up much of anything. There's a lot more questions than there are answers. And I have a wonder if we're not going to get the same thing. I mean, I will say I'm bummed to keep hearing this comment about Steve's dead, because I was crossing my fingers that we get old Steve Rogers to meet Isaiah Bradley, but I guess that's not going to happen, which is too bad.
Well, no, maybe they learned with the season 2 finale of Mandalorian by bringing Luke back. Maybe we will see a Steve Rogers, but like I said, episode 5, Sam said Steve's gone, so.
Well, no, but keep in mind, he says he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I presume that means dead.
I've learned. Maybe it's my superhero sensibility. Gone never means dead. Dead means dead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm looking
forward
to
that
it.
over time.
And maybe this will be a longer episode this Friday.
Yeah, and by the way, dead doesn't necessarily mean dead.
No, especially not in science fiction or whatever.
Or superheroes.
Yeah, or superhero movies.
No. But yeah, I don't know that this is gonna. I mean, honestly, there's a part of me where it's like, I tell you what, I really love to see. I'd love to see Isaiah Bradley go out there and kick a little ass.
Oh, he's when he's too old.
I don't care. Let's go see it. Let's see some badass. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just don't. Given the amount of people who are in the Flag Smashers, I'm just not sure how just Bucky and Winter Soldier. I mean, Bucky, Winter Soldier, same person. Winter Soldier and Falcon are able to stop a whole boatload of super soldiers and essentially a groundswell of that size of an army of individuals. I just don't know. I just don't see it.
Maybe they wait until they're in the getaway car.
Unless they're going to get a whole bunch of help here. Like maybe Sharon Carter shows up. Maybe War Machine.
She gets some Wakandans. Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get Rhodey again.
Maybe War Machine shows up. Now to your question, I'll ask you. What do you think? What? I mean, obviously there's wings. What uniform do we think is
what's in the box?
What uniform do we think is in the box?
I think it might be just the Sam's wings, just in the Wakandan kind of like the dark metallic gunmetal colors, and they're super indestructible. Because obviously, Bucky's like, "Aw, poor Sam got his wing torn off by super soldier John Walker asshole." So maybe just I presume it's a new pair of wings.
Okay, so I think it's a new pair of wings.
Yeah, but I presume it'll be like how Bucky got his metal arm. It's no longer the shiny chrome with the red star on it. It's the Wakandan kind of, so like the same color scheme as Cap's shield in Infinity War.
I think he's going to look very Captain America-y.
Those might be like put some red, white, and blue in there?
I think so, and I think there'll be wings to mix between the two.
Yep.
I mean, I could be very wrong. I just have this feeling that, that it's going to look very, very Captain America. I won't be disappointed if you're right. There's a part of me where I'm like, it just feels like, yeah, I think that's where they'll go. But
Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it Friday morning because I don't go until noon on Friday, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
We're watching it in the morning on Friday. And obviously, if you're listening to this, don't spoil it. Don't be a jerk.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All
so
right.
then what? We go on a break until we get the Loki show, right?
That's
That
right. The Loki show. The Loki show.
But pretty much after that, it's going to be a while, right? Or no?
And then we get finally Black Widow in July.
Yay!
If you say so.
I do say so. I'm having a viewing party.
I'm not. Well, all right, fine. I don't know. I honestly, I mean, I've said this before. The Disney Plus stuff has me more interested than the movies.
Yeah, this was a great series. I'm confident that this series will end on a high note. This Falcon Winter Soldier series.
But even the stuff on the horizon for the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus makes me sit there and go, okay, looking forward to that.
You mean She-Hulk, and what are some of the other series?
Moon Knight is one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what else. There's a lot of stuff where it's like, I'm sorry, what's his name? Don Cheadle is doing a show.
Yeah,
he's going to do that
Armor Wars or something like that.
Yeah, the Armor Wars thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a bunch where it's like, I mean, I get the strategy. The strategy is, okay, we already have established stars and established characters, put them on Disney Plus, make everybody buy it. Versus go the other way around where it's like, okay, we could do these in the movies and we could do these, and people go, I don't care about Shang-Chi. I don't care about the Eternals. I'm not buying Disney Plus for that. But
I buy Disney Plus for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Next month we get the Bad Batch series. I'll try and watch that. See if I can get through it. Have you been watching Superman and Lois? Has that show?
That's not back yet.
Okay,
that's not back yet.
How many episodes have aired? 4, 5, 6?
5.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed Supergirl.
Try and get caught up on that.
I've enjoyed Supergirl. I can understand why other people may not, but I've enjoyed it.
Good.
So I think that's been solid.
The show is ending on a high note. It's not going, it's not jumping the shark.
Whereas in fairness, I've got a couple episodes of Black Lightning, and I just don't care. And it's funny, one of them is supposedly the backdoor pilot for Painkiller, and I'm like, I don't care. I just don't. It's disappointing. It really is. It's really disappointing because that show started on such a high note, and they had it figured out, and they really had it going, and then it just never became the show I thought it would be, and that's too bad.
How many seasons now are you into Black Lightning?
I think it's 4.
Oh.
Yeah, season 4. We're in season 4.
Okay.
We only got to season 4 in Black Lightning.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Yes.
So I don't think we got anything else, but so.
All right, I guess that'll wrap it up then. I guess we're 12 dozen episodes in now. So now the next dozen, we have a baker's dozen of dozen.
A baker's dozen of a dozen.
That's right. That's our next dozen. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe. You know when to get the content. Of course, you can follow all these crazy stories that we have on our Side Hustle News of the Squared on our Scrubs Roundtable Facebook page. Download the show on your usual podcast hosting platforms, Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. Ivan is on twitch.tv at Java and Ivan. He's also on the Spinning Wheel Facebook page and what other Facebook groups you spinning records on?
Okay, I'll be spinning on the Spinning Wheel on Tuesday night. I'll be doing the Tuesday night experience, and then Wednesday I will be at Temple House.
The Temple House, is that another Facebook?
Yeah, that's another Facebook page.
Okay.
Temple House. It's our sister page, catering to the rhythm and blues, jazz and blues crowd, and we're going to be doing a ladies' night there this Wednesday. All the great ladies, vocalists from across the ages, across the stages. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then, let me see. Then we have Amy Vera Random Records on Friday, rare Facebook appearance, Friday night, and then back on Sunday again with the 60s summer party for the Super Spectacular Spinning Wheel Sunday sessions.
So you're not spinning it. You're not on Twitch at all this week.
Yes, I'm gonna be at Twitch for Temple House, but I will be on Facebook for the Tuesday night experience. So you know that one deserves a bit of interaction, you know, because of the content. I mean, I'm really gonna go into like the real psychedelic type of music. It's gonna be pretty out there, so it's gonna be fun.
Okay, and Jeff is on Dynamite Productions on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the usual. And then you can email us if you like. Contact us that way. We crave attention. sotrtpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. And thanks everybody for joining us here at the Squares of the Round Table. It's been real groovy, like an old Hollywood movie. So hey, I hope you'll come around again and join Mike and Jeff and myself. It's been a pleasure giving you a little bit of a smile and a step in your blip there this week, a fig in your wig, and in the hopes that we'll catch up with you next time. Until then, from all of us, so long.